Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is monthly favorites time. We are here to talk about the things I've been loving throughout the month of May. Can you believe it is already June? That just sounds absolutely crazy to me. I bought my first watermelon yesterday, so it does officially feel like summer. So today I have some great stuff to share with you guys. A couple of them are a little bit newer, and then I have a couple of old favorites that I've rediscovered this month. So I hope you guys are excited about this one. I am sure that I will have a lot to say during this video, so we better jump into it. But before we do, special welcome to those of you that are new to my channel. Very happy to have you here. I hope that you'll stick around for a while, and of course subscribe before you leave. And let's go ahead and jump right in. So I want to kick things off with an old favorite because this is a product that I dig out of my collection year after year at the beginning of summer, and it is a highlighter from Wet n Wild. This is the highlighter Precious Petals from Wet n Wild. I've heard some buzz around this highlighter for years on YouTube. I don't hear much about it anymore, but I continue to love this highlighter. In the wintertime, this is a little bit too dark for my skin tone, but once I have just the tiniest touch of a tan, this is so stunning. I'm actually not wearing it on my skin today because this makeup look I just did for a video that I will link for you right here, full face of my most expensive makeup. I did change out the lip, which I'll talk to you guys about in a minute, but this highlighter is so fantastic. And to prove my love for this thing, I want to show you guys something. I have a handful of products that just sit on top of my desk at all times because I reach for them so frequently, and one of those items happens to be my other Wet n Wild highlighter in Precious Petals. Look at the pan on this thing. As someone that almost never hits pan on products, this is astounding. It's a pretty intense highlight, but this is one that I reach for all the time, and especially in the spring and summer, I like to use this specific pan on like my collarbone or sometimes even on my legs. I don't do that very often, but when I do apply this, not just on my face, I go pretty heavy-handed with this thing. It is a beautiful highlighter. It's a beautiful formula. I have a couple other shades that are beautiful, but this is by far my favorite, especially this time of year. It's a beautiful pink, kind of peachy gold. Oh, when it's not in the light, and again, when I have a tiny bit of a tan, it blends into my skin tone, but when it hits the light, it just gives you this like boom, there it is, kind of highlight, which I really love. And let's talk about the price. This thing is like $3 or $4, which is amazing. It is pretty intense, so if you like a much more subtle highlight, this might not be the one for you, but if you have medium to light skin and you haven't tried this thing out, give it a try. It's amazing. Let's stick with the cheeks. Next up, I have a blush that I have die-hard fallen in love with. I know I talked about some blushes that I still love last month. I must be going through a blush phase, but this one is different than any blush that I've ever tried. This is the Juicy Pink blusher from Apu, I believe is the brand. This is in the color Guava. I tried this out in my recent Yes Style try-on video, and even since that video, I have been using this almost every day and have fallen absolutely in love with it. It is a true liquid blush. The only thing that I really have to sort of compare it to is the Physicians Formula Dewy Blush Elixir. I love this stuff as well, but this has more of a oily kind of feel and base, whereas this is truly a water. I don't know what this is made of, but somehow it does not dry down to a powder, but it also doesn't remain tacky and greasy on your cheeks. It just gives you this very beautiful, healthy amount of color that is so stunning and natural looking and super easy to apply. So the best way I found to apply this is with my finger. I've tried it with a brush, I've tried it with a sponge. I feel like they soak up too much of the color, but if I take the little applicator, which looks like a nail polish, as you can see, and I'll basically just swipe both sides of it on my finger, and then that finger I will tap between my other finger, and I'll just basically tap that one finger onto my cheeks. It blends out in 10 seconds or less. It is so effortless and easy, and it just looks beautiful. Mine is in the shade Guava. Here's what it looks like. It's just a very soft pink, and it does have a very subtle, super subtle sheen to it that leans just a tiny bit gold, but I don't really see the sheen on my cheeks. It just looks so healthy and natural. I'm just such a huge fan of this. I cannot wait to pick up a few more shades because I'm dying over this thing. It's amazing. So speaking of the Yes Style video, I also wanted to mention this. This is the Etude House Keep My Brows Clear Brow Gel. I love this stuff. It's a great, simple brow gel if you just want something that's going to hold your brows in place. It reminds me of a stronger version of the e.l.f. Clear Brow Gel. I also love this one, but this one doesn't last quite as long. And one of my biggest complaints about this product is how quickly it runs out. I just opened this one and already one of the sides is pretty much gone, but this one has a ton of product inside. I will mention the last time I checked this was out of stock and I don't know when they will bring it back, but if I can find it somewhere else, I'll be sure to link it down below. And if you're really wanting to track this thing down, I would recommend checking their website frequently because I know that things tend to go away and then come back from their website. So hopefully this will be back soon. I don't remember exactly what I paid for this. I know it was under 10 bucks. I want to say it was somewhere around $7 or $8, but for how much product you're getting inside here, I think that's a pretty good deal. I know this thing's going to last me a while, and I noticed more than any other brow gel that I've used that this thing really holds up over time. Let's talk about eyeshadow. I have two palettes here, and I had to mention both of them for different reasons. I love them both. I've been using them both very regularly over the last couple of weeks. I have a really good feel for them now, and it is these two palettes right here, the Natasha Denona Safari palette and the C Color Cosmetics Savannah palette. I did recently do a video where I compared these two palettes to each other. The C Color palette is meant to dupe the Natasha Denona palette, and I have to tell you guys, it does a pretty fantastic job. I know I've talked in detail about these, but I have had a chance to get to know this palette specifically a little bit better now, and I have to say, although I haven't used every shade inside here, I've used most of them, and they did a pretty spot-on job at duping the colors inside here. Now the formulas are a little bit different. These ones are a little bit more pigmented and intense, but these are still very pigmented, very easy to build, and they last really well with a primer for me. So honestly, the price difference between these, this one retails for $129, this one retails for $8. So unless you are just an absolute Natasha Denona fan, anyone that is looking to save a little bit of money, I would say definitely go for the C Color one because I think it's nearly as good. I do still love the Natasha Denona one. It's a beautiful palette. The packaging of this is super luxurious, as it should be, which may not be a consideration to most people, but I know that there are people out there that really appreciate luxury makeup products with really luxury packaging, and that's what you get with this palette. When I did the video comparing these two palettes, it was really interesting to read through the comments and the feedback from you guys and just kind of your thought process on how you spend your money on makeup. It is so different for all of us. There are so many different things that we consider when it comes to purchasing makeup, and it's not always just about price, but I'm going to say these are both fantastic palettes. I am happy to own them both. I know that seems a little excessive because they're basically identical palettes. Perhaps someday I'll pass this one on to one of my sisters because I don't need them both, and since I spent the money on the Natasha Denona one, but they are both great. I love this color story if you're into matte shadows. I just feel like this is the color story that really get you through all the seasons. If you're someone that likes to match your eyeshadow to kind of the vibe or the feel of the seasons, this one gives you some winter, it gives you some summer, it gives you some spring, it gives you some fall. You've got it all inside here. Of course, you can use those colors all year long, which I do. But this is the way that I like to really play with color. There's some beautiful muted jewel tone colors in here, paired with a lot of really good neutrals. And you add a pop of shimmer for maybe a single shadow to these, and I'm telling you guys, you can get so many beautiful looks with this palette. This one as well. And in case you're wondering why I didn't bring up the Folklore palette, which I brought up during that dupe video, that one is similar to these palettes, but it's not exactly the same. And I think I've mentioned that one in a favorites video before. And speaking of eyeshadows, I had to talk about this eyeshadow brush today. If you've been watching my recent videos, you might know that a little over a month ago, Rephr sent me their brushes to try out. I absolutely fell in love with them. Last month, I talked about their #1 brush, which is a really good dupe for the Wayne Goss #18 brush. I say dupe, they're about the same price, so they kind of are interchangeable in my mind. They perform pretty much the same. I still absolutely love and stand behind this brush, but I've discovered a new multi-purpose brush that has a little bit of a different purpose for me, and that's the #16 brush right here. This is such a good multi-purpose brush. Shape-wise, it reminds me a little bit of the Morphe M504 brush, which I have been talking about basically since the dawn of my channel. I do love this brush, but I love this one more because do you see this little point that it has at the top? That gives this brush so much versatility. The Rephr brushes are made of real goat hair, so keep that in mind, but this is just such a soft and high quality brush. It blends shadow like a dream, but because it has that fine point, you can really do some detail work in your crease. It makes shadow so quick and seamless. So I would say where these two brushes differ, because obviously they look very different. I think they're both really good multi-purpose brushes, but because this one is a little bit larger and fluffier, it also has the ability to really quickly blow shadow out all through your crease if you're wanting to do just like a quick wash of color all over and then maybe do a little bit of detail work in your outer corner. This I think is going to get the job done a little bit more quickly. If I had to pick between these two, that would be really, really tough because I love them both for different reasons, but I think I might go with this one because I just feel like this brush could do absolutely anything. Rephr did ask me if I had a favorite brush to let them know, and they will try and get it into their concept store where it will be 50% off. So I said, hey, if you can put the #16 brush in there, that would be amazing, because if you can get this brush for $12, you guys, the Morphe M504 is $8, so if you can get this one for just a couple dollars more, So worth it. I'm not an affiliate with Rephr. I don't get any sort of commissions off of any brushes that you guys might purchase. I just wanted to share, if you're looking for a high quality brush, this is a great one. Let's talk about a concealer. I have been reaching for the Candid concealers from Revlon. These have been out for a while, and I've actually even had them for quite a while. But the more I've been reaching for these lately, the more I just can't seem to set them down. They're just really easy concealers to use. I have noticed that these have been getting a little bit harder to get a hold of, at least in the shades that I use. I've noticed in my local drugstore, they haven't been restocking these. On Ulta's website, the same shades have been out of stock for a while, which always makes me a little bit nervous and makes me wonder if they're going to be discontinuing these. But this is a great concealer. Really good coverage, nice and hydrating, but doesn't crease easily. I use these two shades simultaneously. I have the shade 005 and the shade 025, but I'm a huge fan of these. I've been absolutely loving them this last month. Now let's talk about something super cheap and super old. I have had this product, well, I repurchased this product a few times over the last several years. It's a very functional kind of thing that I don't really think to mention, but it kind of saves my life sometimes, and it is this little lip exfoliator from e.l.f. If you have dry, crusty lips, I highly recommend this thing. Here's how I like to use this thing though. I feel like the base of this can get a little bit dry, so I like to put just a basic chapstick on first and then go in with the lip exfoliator. If you have crusty lips and you feel like they show through any lipstick or lip product that you put on, you need to get your lips ready for a lip product or just get rid of that dry, crusty skin. This does such a good job. It's super affordable. I can even find this at my local Walmart, and it does last me quite a long time. So not a very exciting product, but something that is super useful, and I probably use this almost every time I do my makeup if I'm putting a traditional lipstick on. And speaking of lipstick, this right here has been a rediscovery for me this month. I've worn this almost any time I've done my makeup over the last month. This is the Maybelline Shine Lipstick in the color Baddest Beige. I think I first got this on the recommendation of Jamie Page here on YouTube, and initially I thought it was a little bit too light for me, but when I put a little bit of a deeper lip liner underneath it and then pop this on top, it gives me the most beautiful nude lip. That's what I'm wearing today. I have Max Swirl underneath. It is super comfortable, and if you like that slightly lighter nude lip, give this thing a try. It is absolutely amazing. Let me swatch it for you guys. There it is right there. It's just a very soft peachy pink nude, and it is just so comfortable. So there you can see it's kind of a lighter nude, but with the deeper lip liner underneath, and I put a little bit too much on right there, but if you really just go in light with it and wear something deep underneath, it gives you that like perfect nude lipstick. And I always love having a good lipstick that is a little too light for me for the lipsticks that are a little bit too dark for me. Because not only is it really difficult to find that perfect nude shade, but you actually get more dimension to your lips when you layer a darker and a lighter lipstick together. If you use a lipstick that's just one shade, you're not going to get the same dimension. So there's a little tip. Don't just throw away those lipsticks that are a little bit too light. Use them with other shades that are a little bit too dark, which I realize is a tip that probably everyone in the world knows. And with that, those are all the things I've been loving throughout the month of May. As always, I love to hear from you guys. What is one or two products that you have just absolutely loved this last month? It can be something old, it can be something new, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope that you guys are looking forward to June. I hope that things are starting to normalize where you are. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that before you leave. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you again. I will see you in my next one. Bye. It blends in beautifully with my skin's that I've actually been using for, there's a bug. Like a fruit fly. Someone leave a banana peel down here. Get subscribed. I'd love for you to hit that subscribe. I thought I saw movement back there. Sometimes my kids will spy on me while I'm talking, and then I turn around, they're staring at me, and I feel like an idiot, and then they laugh, of course. Look at mom talking to herself and laughing and smiling at the camera. It is cringy. It is.